Next talk will be given by the Professor Damir Chebla. He is representing Academy of Science of France, and it's a pleasure for me to be his PhD students and working with him for more than 12 years. So he is one of the best I know designers of different mechanical systems, and today he will give us a talk about design and control of a dexterous anthropomorphic robotic hand for humanoid robot. So please use your time, Damia. So you have 40 minutes for your presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Alexander. I think I can share my screen. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So thank you, Alexander, for this introduction. So today I will speak about some design of a dexterous hand. So it's a part of this talk is also dedicated to security, because we have also to introduce this constraint for the design of a robotic system and mainly for anthropometric hand. So this work was done also with PhD students, Giulio Ceruti, a couple years before, but I like to use this talk because currently we have also some other research that not finished currently, but we can apply the same methodology for many design, starting from the analysis of the user requirement, the mechanical design, the control design, and to make some experiment by using some prototype. So this work was done with my colleague, Sophie Saka, from the Laboratoire des sciences du numérique de Nantes. So it's here. For this part. And I'm working for this French institute. It's a CNRS, so it's a National Science for Research. And the company that it was first called Aldebaran, and now it's a part of SoftBank Robotics. Okay, so this is to introduce. Okay, so next, so, not working. Okay, so I'm working in a robotic team. So is in French is robotique et vivant. It's like a robotic to be inspired from a living system. So we have around 10 permanent people. And from this group, Alexander, well-known Anatol Paskevich, because it was a co-supervisor. And the aim of this team is to make these four main activity, like to study the living system, to design some new mechanism by using the nature, to have also to assist or support the human, and also to have some perception of the environment based on what we call the robotics, the electric sense. So here you have a set of example where we have like from the mannequin, from the humanoid robot, for the rockhill system, we have like the study of animals to have the design of new mechanism like the neck of the bird. We can also have some medical application. This is to help for surgery to have some endoscope inside the ear. And we have also the design of some prostheses, from the mechanical design to the control by using EMG signal. So this is the main introduction of my team. So why we want to make some new robot? It's because if you have a look in your home, you will see that we have, or you have, many different robots, but each robot is done for a given task. So if we have a look, mainly the human is able to perform many different tasks. So if you can replace a set of machine, of robot by a humanoid robot, maybe it will be use way to reduce either the cost or many parameters. So if we have a look about the humanoid robot, currently we have different kind of robot. So some of them have very well designed, but very expensive. It's mainly used for laboratory, for research work. You cannot really buy for you. And we have also some other with limited behavior. For example, if you want, in your case, as it's a partner for this project, we have like the Naro robot. It's a very small robot, so it's like it's easy to use. It's for learning for students, or to have some small interaction with environment, but it's not enough to replace the real robot. So the input was we want to increase the exchange between the humanoid robot and the human. So mainly is to exchange, but also to have some benefit, like to handle some very small part. But what we want also is that this design have to be anthropometric. It means that it will be like your own body in a such way that it will be easier to be accepted for young and older people. So it's the main input. So, but they will fix many input or many constraints for the design. So this is the beginning. So the outline of my talk will be the following. First, we will try to study or to have a look about the shape of the human hand. And after we will make some design for the mechanical design and a little bit for the control system to present some experiment, and you will have some conclusion. Because from the idea to the patent, because the main part of this work was we have a patent, you will see the idea. So if you have a look at your hand from outside, it's not easy to see what you have inside because you have some bone. And for each bone, you will have some mobility. You will have to study this. So what we will do is to have the complete definition of the hand. So many people that they start to create a humanoid robot have a look about this step. So what we can see is that we have the bone, and between the bone we have a set of joints with 1 of 2 degrees of freedom. We can also have a look that for some part of for example, for the palm, you have some bone, but the mobility is quite small, and maybe sometimes we can remove some degree of freedom. So one way is to have how many degree of freedom there is, and to define some names. So for example, we have what we call the medium, the proximal, and the distal links. So it's one way to explain. And for each finger, we can have like 4 degrees of freedom. If I'm starting from this, we have 2, 1, 1. For the thumb is quite difficult because we have like a 2 here, 2 here, so it's more. And for this, you can see that most of the time, this joint are locked. So we have the remaining degree freedom is 22. So it's very, the number is very high, and you will see in the future that some design try to include all the joint, and some other try to reduce, either to reduce the cost, the weight, for some application. Okay. So we have a different measurement. Sorry, I have to remove. So how to evaluate? Because if the final design have to be as your own hand, we have to have some measurement. So it's quite complex because first, as the human, all the humans are very different. We have to link the design of the hand to the size of the humanoid robot. We have a different way to have this measurement. So we can have some scan, but we can also to have external measurement. And not all the size or the position of the finger are well defined in the database. But what is important to remember that if we compare the human hand to the animals, the main difference is coming from the position of the thumb. I'm sorry for this. Because we are able to move the finger and to carry or to grasp a different object. So what we try to do is to evaluate the efficiency of the hand is to use what we call the Kaplan-G test. This test was used if you have some accident and we want to test if you recall all the behavior of your hand and your finger. And this task is you have to point all the joint by the thumb, and you will see that if you're able to do it, maybe you have a good dexterity of your hand. So it's like a geometric test to evaluate what we can call like subjective evaluation of your own dexterity. So the first input that I tell you is not only to use a robot for like for pick and place or for grasping, but also to help you to exchange. So today it's not so easy to exchange with you by using some camera. So for example, I will remove my background, so it will less beautiful, but you will see that most of the time I wish to use my finger, my arm, to explain to you something. So by the gesture, you are able, if you open your camera, to tell me, okay, oh, it's good. Oh, so many things, many gesture. And by the gesture, just before I have a lecture with students, and I know that if I'm in the classroom, I can see, I can detect some, by the human motion, some behavior. But when we have some camera like today, it's very difficult to see if you follow me or if you have some problem. So if this first idea is a gesture to express my feeling close to you. But we want also to use this to have some from grasping task. So it can be just to have some small activity or to handle like my iPhone. So this is the input, and anytime you will have to design in the future one robot, you have to declare what is the aim and the user requirement. Okay, so as many research, we have to start by the state of the art, and we can separate the previous design in two main rooms. First, we have like a very dexterous hand with many joints. So we keep all the mobility of the finger. And the other is we have less. This we have what we call under-actuated hand. So it's like the state of the art, and you will see that we have some very, very beautiful hand, very complex, and sometimes what we can have is either we have to have some actuators. So either the actuators are embedded inside the hand or are outside, like this one. So we keep only the mechanical parts on the hand, but the actuators are later. So you can see that for this one, the actuators are here. For this one, we have all the actuators. And so this means that if you want to use for a robot, you need some place. We have some other. Sorry. Oops. Okay. So we have some other mechanism with a limited number of joints. This means that we have some coupling. When I'm start to move one finger, I will have like for only 1 degree of freedom, and the motion will be coupled. And sometimes we have also some mechanism where we can self-adaptable to the shape of the object. It's by using this method. And we have also some hybrid design where we try to keep, it's like the middle between a full actuated system and a middle actuated system. So we will remove this. But the main information that we can keep from the state of the art is that the weight depends on the number of joints. So more you want to have degree of freedom actuated, more the weight will be. So if you want to use as a robotic hand in a humanoid robot, you have to pay attention about the main size. And if you want to keep the same behavior of the humanoid of the human to the humanoid body, you have to have the same mass, the same inertia for the motion. So it will be easier for the control. So the limit is when we have few number of actuated joints, you will have low anthropomorphic behavior, and it's very hard to exchange with the human. But for the other, when we have many joints, the weight is high, so you cannot use for humanoid robot. We can also use some other way for the actuation, like some hydraulic actuators, but it's not suitable to be, most of the time, it's not suitable to be handled by the humanoid robot. So maybe some of you will tell you that for some society like not SoftBank, Boston Dynamics, they are using hydraulic actuators, but if you well remember, it's quite noisy. So maybe it's not a good solution to have this robot at home. Okay, so the idea based on the state of the art and the design requirement is what we want is to design a new robotic hand. We try to simplify the kinematics model in a such way to have the minimum number required to have some exchange with human and robot and to handle some parts, and by gesture and grasping. And also we need to be safe because the robot can falling down or to have some collision with its own environment. So the mechanical specification design used for this work will be respect to the human shape, to have a small masses, to be backdriver, so it's like this is for security, to have some constraint for open close, because if it's too slow, it's not realistic in the real life, robust, and to have very low energy consumption. So, but I tell you that I wish to make some gesture, but what is a gesture? So most of the time we have two types of gesture. We have what we call positive gesture, like this one, but we have also some other that maybe it's not necessary to keep for the robot. So we have also some gesture that we have like, if I want to count, how many times, so maybe in a few minutes, Alexander will tell me, you have just 5 minutes, okay. And you can also, okay, I love you, so you need to end, but it's kind of a gesture that I can give you during this talk. So as I have two main constraints, the main function is to express or to make gesture, and the second one is also to be used for grasping a set of elements where we limit the weight for the final design. Okay, so to do this, I have to see which joint I have to keep, and to have like an atlas of the solution where I will have for each gesture which mobility I need for the hand and what I will keep for the end. So I will go quickly for this. And I will define like some priority because it's not possible to do all the gesture, but to keep the main one. So at the end, what I can see that I can have some coupling between some finger. This means to have just 1 degree of freedom. And for the thumb to have more mobility. So at least we have 3 or 4 joints for the thumb. But the main problem is if I have the number of joints, I have to decide and to declare the size of each finger and the position of each finger with respect to the other. So as I tell you, we have the measurement, but in the database, it's quite difficult, for example, to have the position of the thumb. And sometimes we have just the size of the bone, but it's limited. So from the database, we can have for different finger, different size. We can have also some database that they tell me, according to the size of your hand, what is the size of each bone. So it was definition. And most of the time for the distal one, we try to increase a little bit because it's quite small. And sometimes we have just a bone, not the skin that we have all around the bone. Another problem that, as I tell you, is how to have the position of the finger. And if I remove this motion, I have to have in a such way that if I open and if I close my hand, what is the final position? And the main problem that we have discovered is that the thumb is not well defined in the database. So it's the main reason that we have tried to design how to characterize a dexterous hand, and we will use the Kappa-Gene test. We will use like the opposability of the thumb, so we can touch each finger by the thumb. And also at the end, we have a final test. We have a set of candidates, and we will keep, it's a subjective evaluation, the design that we think to be better than the other. So it's at the beginning, it's objective design. We have a set of solutions, and we keep only one. So this can be changed. So we have defined its optimization problem. I will try to go very quickly because I know that I have many slides, but the idea is to minimize some distance. I will try to avoid the collision between the finger and the other, and to try to have this possibility of the thumb. So here what we can see is like the workspace of each finger. I have the workspace and the thumb, and for each position, I will try to evaluate all these tasks. And it's a hard problem. So why I tell you this? Because if I wish to respect all the constraints, only few design was found to reach all these constraints. So here you have the optimization shape, where I have like, I will try first to have a set of candidates. I will evaluate by the Kappa-Gene test. Sometimes it's not good. And after, I will try to have and some validation of the work. So, but the main problem is now if I have defined the geometry of the hand, starting from the external shape, because I wish that it will be used for robotic, and what is very important is the external shape of the hand. I have to put inside some actuators, and I have to limit the size, limit the weight with all these constraints. If you will remember, I have two applications, the what we call emotion and the grasp. So, but the idea is I have some, if I wish to control my finger, I have no interaction with the environment. So this means that the power of each muscle can be limited because I do not apply external force except to balance the own mass of the finger. And for the grasping, I will try to handle some cup of soda. So it's limited to 400 grams, so it's very small size. but normally I cannot do it just by the finger for the emotion. So at the end, what we have designed is to have two sets of actuators. Some actuators just for the motion of the finger, small power, and a big one that it's used for underactuated hand to have a large power to handle or to grasp some object. The main problem will be how to have like two different robots and to mix the both systems. So it's this solution that was patented at the end of this work. So the idea is, as you can see, I have just one motors per finger, and I have to design a mechanical system. So my main background is the mechanical design, and sometimes we have what we call some serial robots, some parallel robots. And here it's like a parallel robot because I will have some what we call some closed loop. So the closed loop is starting from the base at this point. If I have just 1 degree freedom actuated, I will be able to produce a coupling motion between this like a proximal part to the medium and to the distal. So I do not explain all the equation, but the idea is to create some 4-bar linkage, and I will have to evaluate the kinematics, but also the dynamics to have the information starting from the position of the finger. So for example, if my hands are vertical, I have quite no effect of the gravity forces, but if my hand is something like this, I will have to have the motor force or the torque able to compensate the effect of the gravity for all my finger. So this was done by using some methodology introduced in my lab by Professor Khalil. So it's like the father of the robotic in my institute, and we have inverse dynamics. So the conclusion was, okay, I wish to reproduce the motion of my finger when I close, and the idea is starting from the like the flat configuration to the closed one to have a mechanical design with a single actuators able to reproduce all this finger position. So for the finger is on the center, and for the thumb, as I have more degree of freedom, I will have more actuators. So the final design was, first, I wish to compensate the effect of the gravity, and I will have some very small ratio for the gear, because first I wish to be backdrabbable, because if you have a very high level for the gear reduction, you cannot what we call backdrabbable. So if I reduce or stop the control low, I need that my finger can be if I touch my environment, that the finger can move. We are using some Maxo motors, very small one. To have a very small motor with a high torque is very hard. We have the limit of the magnetic field. So you can see that for some other it's around 10 for this. But the idea is, okay, if I have some finger, I will have to use a second transmission system to couple my motors for grasping to the finger. So most of the time, people are using some cable-based transmission from the finger to the motors. We have to respect some requirement, like how many force I can transmit by the cable to limit the friction, to be more efficient for the energy. And we have also some problem because we have some pulley, we have some cable, so we have to respect some constraint. So we have test for long weekend, different kind of cable, and most of the time it's like a Dyneema or fast flight, so it's a kind of cable that you can easily find to have either low friction, large endurance. So we move for more 1,000 or 10,000 times open close the finger during the weekend, and to have a good way to connect to the finger. So all was done, but we have to optimize first how we will put the cable and how to connect any finger. So in the finger, it's very easy because many works was done. If I have so here I have the tip of the finger, and you can see that with using Poly, I can transmit up to the base. But we have also to design some grasping stability, because it's a very hard problem. If we want to keep in your hand something, so I have to design, because if the force was not well applied, you will eject the cup. And if you have a good stability, this means that I will handle without any problem. So the stability is one problem for the design of robotic hand. So, but unfortunately, in the design optimization, many parameters was fixed, and we have a limited number of variables where we can change for the optimization. So this work was used by using some result done by Lionel Berglen. So it's a French guy that is working in Canada. And he have worked from the beginning of, I think, 2002 or 3 with Clément Gosselin at Laval University to define how we can have some stable grasp by using all the contact and so on. So if it's very good works, and what we have to make some, it's like also an optimization function, because we have either to reduce the fact that the object will be ejected from your hand. We have also to have something for the compactness of the mechanism, and also to see that for some radius for the Poly, if it's possible or not. So we are used classical optimization function. And the idea is we have some different parameters, and we are able to see if we have some condition. So either we will have some equilibrium, so we have some surface, and for some other we will have like for some design is not stable, the object is ejected, and for some other we have like a equilibrium and is well working. Okay, so the final design was also how to put the cable in the palm. So if you have a look, sometimes people are using some Poly, but we prefer to use, so in the palm, some small part. So it's very easy to explain that starting from one force on the beginning, you apply here. So at this level, this force is divided by 2. So you have like the same force. So if we have like in the equilibrium, so a large part of the force, or the half of the force will move to the thumb, and the other will go to the other finger. And after you will divide by 2 to have the 2 left and the 2 right, and after something like this. So this behavior allows you that if I wish to close my hand to one object, and for example, imagine that I have my cup, if one finger is not used, so at the beginning I will use the finger, but as it touches, the force will be transmitted to the other. So it's like a self-adjustment of the forces during around all the finger. So this design was done, but we have to pay attention about to avoid the collision between the bars. So we have a software called Working Model to adjust this. There is quite no friction between the links and the other part. And it's more robust than to use Polé. So at the beginning, we have tested the Polé, but even if we are using some bearing, the size was so small, it's very hard to respect all the constraints for the design, or the cost become so high that we really prefer this design. This is the main problem that we have is you can easily find many solutions in the literature, but no people tell you that, okay, this solution exists, but we know that it's a bad solution. So you will start again, you will have the same problem. Okay, so now if I have the position of the cable for the finger in the palm, I have to design and to see what is the torque required by the motors to handle this kind of hook, for example. So we have to make some other assumption, like the friction between the can and the finger. We can add some different material to avoid this, but the idea is to see if I have some friction parameter to avoid that the cup falling down. So at the end, we have usual motors where we have only 0.1 Newton meter, and we have also to add the transmission system by using the pulley to the finger. Okay, so now is the main contribution of this work is how to use two mechanical systems in the same hand and to mix the use between the gesture and the grasping. So we have used very classical properties that Alexander well known is to have a coupling mechanism. So it's a 4-bar linkage. And the idea is if I make some small motion, I will have some bar that they will have like a rigid body. And this one will have a small, it's an elastomer, so it's less stiffness. And the idea is when we apply some force for compression, they will have some bending deformation, and we need to have just the critical force for this bar that is located. So when we extrude, you can see, sorry, I have to show you that this bar that is firstly like this will bend like this. So it's a buckling phenomena that you can have for classical bars. So if we're able to characterize what is the maximum force that we can apply to respect the coupling for gesture, and we are able to detect the force to change mode for grasping, you have to, in a single mechanism, the same properties. Okay. So the final design that you will see later for some movie, we have this small, so the size was really the size of a human hand, and you have also some small gear for the transmission between the motors and for the gesture, and we have the connection to the maximum. So at the end, we have also implemented the control law. So it's as it uses the humanoid robot, we are keeping the same architecture for the control of the complete robot. So you can see that for some, the frequency was quite low for some other, and we changed for the high level to the brain of the humanoid robot. We have the same for the emotion, for the grasping is quite the same, because we have more or less the same architecture. And we can have for some the position feedback and the current feedback. So the current feedback allows us to have like an idea about the interaction. And for the grasping, as it is under actuated, we keep only the current feedback. So how to control this? So to learn to the robot how to use the hand, we are using like a data glove. And we have connected the motion of your real hand to the motion of the robotic hand. So this is like some test. So you can see that it's a research test bed. So we have many cables outside because we are using all the electronic parts are coming from the humanoid robot. So I will play again. So the idea is what I tell you, the Kappa-Gene test, and we touch the thumb touch different part of the other joint alone. So the idea was how to express the gesture. So we have like a one, we have like a close all my finger. We can have like a different way, like a two finger and so on. So anything was some gesture that we learn to the robot. And the idea was also to show different grasping. So we have selected a set of classical part in the beginning, and we try to do we try to do it. So for some small part, we can use just the finger of the gesture, or we apply the position of the finger by the gesture motors, and later we apply the main motors for grasping. So what you can see is sometimes the motion or the position of the element is changing because due to the main power of the motor, we can adjust the position. So here is we have on the top when we are using just gesture, and here is when you are using the grasp. So you can see that here, as we can control just one finger by one finger, there is no connection. But for this one, so this I control only one finger, but here as I have my force, so when I have contact here, they will apply for the second and later apply also for the two others. So it's the main reason that we have some difference between for when I can control only one finger and when I will use the grasping control. So we can see that we have like, it's like a self-adaptation, because for this one, we have to control and we know the position and the current feedback to see if we have some contact between the finger and the object. And for this one, we have just the task, the force control, and it's better for the control. Okay. So for grasping, we have here this movie. Okay, I'm sorry, there is some delay. I will start again. So at the beginning, we use the emotion, no grasping. And after we apply, so the grasping force, and you can see that you cannot remove the mobile from the hand. So we have used this for many different tasks and different objects to validate this. So as is quite the end of my talk, the idea is to check from the beginning what is if we compare the design specification that I have done in the beginning and at the end, what I can do it. So first, we have some problem about the cost, because we are using just some prototype mainly for the gear, and the last part of the budget was for the gear. But we know that by using the methodology to evaluate the cost, that if I produce many, the cost will reduce. and also a part of the control row was not included in the end. So for the gesture, quite all was validated. Some are not so good. And for the grasping, quite all was good. I see that we have like some question about the grasping possibility. So here is close to 400 grams. Okay, so what I show you today, and because we can apply for many other designs, is like a methodology to define one end. So currently I do it for another application. We have a company that they wish to handle or to grasp very complex shape coming from a milling machine, and we cannot use some stupid end, and we are using the same methodology. So some constraints are removed. For example, the weight is not a problem. The size depends on the part that we want to move, but the methodology is all the same, all the time the same. Starting from we have to analyze the user requirement to have the constraint of the company, and at the end to design the new end. So we have designed what we call an hybrid robot, where we try to couple two applications, and at the end we fulfill quite all the design requirement for this contribution. So here is some future works, but I will just close for this. So this is a society change. Currently, we have many patents. So starting from the same idea in many countries, so unfortunately for research, we have few publications. It's mainly due to the fact that when we are if you request patent, you have to wait for publication. And when you have a company inside the loop for one research, sometimes the main idea is not only to produce publication, journal or conference, is to produce patent and to use a real prototype to be for the future. So I will thanks again all the people that they are working in this lab, mainly Giulio Ceruti, so now it's one of my friends, and David Goualier. We are thesis together currently, and also my colleague Sophie Saka. So as I'm quite late, I will. It's the end of this talk.
Thank you, Damien, for your nice presentation. So we have we're out of the time, but we have lunch time, so we can spend a couple of minutes for questions. So we have one question from the chat. So what is the actual payload for the worst graph configuration? So, and what is the best? I would say what is the limits in terms of the components you have now?
So the limit. So what we want in the beginning. So some design specification. For example, we use like a 600 gram in the beginning. Oops. It will be larger. Oops. Okay, faster like this. Okay, so in the beginning, what we expect is to have 600 grams. So at the end, you can see that it's a little bit less. So it's mainly, so we have different constraints. So it's first when we do, I think it's like this. So if you have a look for this, the mass of the can will be a bit less. So the problem is coming that we have some unknown concerning the friction coefficient between the finger and the part that we want to move or to handle. So if you have a look here, we have some plastic parts, and we have really to work on this to have more efficient connection or to increase finally the friction between the part and the object. But more or less, we reach what we want in the beginning.
Okay. Thank you. I have one more question to you. So, what is the minimum force you can have here, grasping force, and how efficient it will be with the deformable object? What will be the limit?
You're talking about the minimum?
The minimum force you can control in grasping.
So the problem for the grasping is, as you can see, that we have we know the first tension in the motors, but we do not have the distribution along all the finger. So if you are able to evaluate the friction inside the transmission system, I think that you can able to have a very good sensibility. But to have the real value for the minimum, we have really to evaluate this all the loss in the transmission system. So you see that if we have some friction at the beginning, we will just apply force on the cable, but no motion. But most of the time, the question is the maximum, but I think that it's a good question. What is the sensibility of the minimum force? But I have no answer.
Okay, thank you again. So we don't have other questions. So I would like to thank you to present your current project.